Asterisk. The massive ship moved through space like a dark mountain floating among the stars. Admiral Kong Minho stood on the bridge, looking out at the small blue planet ahead of them. Earth looked so peaceful from this distance, so harmless, but Minho knew better than to trust appearances. Behind him, the bridge crew worked quietly at their stations. The soft hum of computers and the gentle beep of sensors filled the air. Everyone knew what they were here to do. Everyone understood the importance of their mission. Admiral called Commander Park Duyun from her station near the tactical display. All ships are in position. The device is ready for deployment. Minho nodded, but did not turn around. He had spent 300 years in the Coalition Navy. He had seen the rise and fall of dozens of species. Some had been peaceful traders who joined the galactic community with joy. Others had been warriors who fought until their last breath. But the humans were different. They were something new and dangerous. "Tell me again about their progress," Minho said to his science officer. Lieutenant Kim Junho pulled up the data on his screen. "When we first discovered them 200 years ago, they were still using chemical rockets to barely reach their own moon. Now they have fusion drives that can cross their entire solar system in weeks. Their weapons have advanced from simple explosives to antimatter warheads, and their expansion rate," Minho asked, "faster than any species we have ever recorded." Junho replied, "They went from one planet to colonies on 12 worlds in just 50 years. Their population growth is incredible. Their technology advancement is beyond anything we thought possible." Minho finally turned to face his crew. These were good people. They had families back home on their various worlds. They believed in the Coalition and its mission to keep peace in the galaxy. They trusted him to make the right decisions. "The Council spent 6 months debating this," Minho said. "The humans showed every sign of becoming a threat to galactic stability. Their expansion rates suggest they will reach other star systems within a century. Their military growth indicates they will not be peaceful neighbors." Commander Duyun looked up from her station. Some of the younger council members argued for making contact first. They said we should try diplomacy before taking such extreme action. "The council considered that option," Minho replied, "but the risk analysis was clear. Every computer model we ran showed the same result. If we allow the humans to continue their current path, they will become a galactic superpower within 500 years. They will either conquer or destroy most of the existing civilizations." The bridge fell silent for a moment. Everyone knew the stories of the Vorak Empire and the Zentari Collective. Both had been young, aggressive species that the Coalition had tried to reason with. Both had ended up causing galactic wars that lasted centuries and killed billions. "The stellar collapse device is our most powerful weapon," Minho continued. "It has only been used twice before. Both times, it prevented galactic catastrophes. The mathematics are simple. We sacrifice one star system to save thousands of others." Lieutenant Kim Junho raised his hand slightly. "Sir, what about the innocent humans? The children, the artists, the scientists who just want to learn about the universe?" It was a fair question. Minho had asked himself the same thing many times during the long journey to Earth. The Coalition exists to protect the greatest number of lives possible. Sometimes that means making terrible choices. We cannot risk the lives of trillions of beings across the galaxy for the sake of one species. "The device is ready for deployment," Admiral reported the weapons officer, Lieutenant Yoon Jisoo. "We can position it near their star within the hour. Once activated, their sun will go supernova in approximately 6 hours. The explosion will destroy everything in this system instantly." Minho walked to the center of the bridge. Through the large viewport, Earth continued its slow rotation. He could see the swirling clouds over the blue oceans. Somewhere down there, millions of humans were living their daily lives. They had no idea that their entire civilization was about to end. "Okay, sir," Commander Dayun said quietly. There is something else we should consider. What is it? Our intelligence. Reports might be outdated. The humans have been very secretive about their recent technological developments. We have not been able to get close enough to their worlds to do detailed scans in over 50 years. What if they have developed defenses we do not know about? Minho considered this. Our long-range sensors show no signs of advanced shield technology or weapon systems that could threaten our fleet. The humans appear to be focused on expansion rather than military defense. But sir, Dayun continued, what if they detect the device? What if they try to communicate with us? Then we will ignore their communications, Minho said firmly. We cannot allow sentiment to interfere with our duty. The stellar collapse device is undetectable by any known technology. Even if they somehow notice it, they will not have time to do anything about it. The Admiral walked back to his command chair. Begin deployment of the device. I want it positioned on the opposite side of their star from our fleet. If anything goes wrong, we need to be far enough away to escape the blast. Yes, sir, Lieutenant Yoon Ji-soo responded. She began entering commands into her console. Device deployment beginning now. Estimated time to position, 47 minutes. As the crew worked to deploy humanity's doom, Minho found himself thinking about his own childhood. He had grown up on a peaceful world where his biggest worry was passing his school exams. His parents had been farmers who spent their days tending crops and their evenings reading stories to their children. It was the coalition that had protected that peaceful life. It was the coalition that had kept dangerous species from destroying everything he loved, called Lieutenant Kim Jun-ho from the communication station. We are receiving multiple signals from the human homeworld. They appear to be standard communication attempts. As expected, Minho replied. Probably detected our fleet when we dropped out of hyperspace. Continue to ignore all communications. Sir, some of the signals are quite unusual. They do not match standard first contact protocols. It is almost as if they are not surprised to see us. Minho frowned. What do you mean? The transmission patterns suggest that they have been monitoring our approach for some time. These are not panic signals or desperate pleas for mercy. They appear to be routine diplomatic communications. That is impossible, Commander Dayun said. Our ships use the most advanced stealth technology in the galaxy. No species has ever detected our approach from more than a few light minutes away. Perhaps their sensor technology is more advanced than we thought, Yunho suggested. Minho stood up from his chair. It does not matter, okay? Even if they detected us, they cannot stop what is about to happen. Continue with the deployment. Device is now in position, Admiral, reported Lieutenant Yoon Ji-soo. All systems are green. We can activate it at any time. Excellent, Minho said. Charge the activation sequence. In 1 hour, the human threat will be eliminated forever. But as he spoke those words, something in the back of his mind whispered that this mission might not be as simple as they had planned. The humans had surprised them once with their rapid advancement. Cops, they had more surprises waiting. The countdown to humanity's end had begun. Admiral Kang Minho stared at the countdown timer on his command screen. 30 minutes until activation. 30 minutes until the human star would begin its death spiral into supernova. Everything was proceeding according to plan. Sir, Lieutenant Kim Jun-ho called from the communications station. The human signals are getting stronger. Seem very persistent about establishing contact. Ignore them, Minho replied without looking away from the timer. Desperate species always try to talk their way out of extinction. We have heard it all before. Commander Park De-yoon was studying her tactical display with a puzzled expression. Admiral, I am detecting some unusual energy readings from the human homeworld. The patterns are unlike anything in our databases. Probably some kind of primitive shield attempt, Minho said dismissively. Their technology is centuries behind ours. Whatever they are trying to do, it will not matter in 28 minutes. But Dayun continued to frown at her readings. Sir, these energy signatures are very strange. They appear to be coming from multiple points across their planet, and the power levels are much higher than we expected from their civilization. Lieutenant Yoon Ji-soo looked up from her weapons console. Okay, Admiral, the stellar collapse device is functioning perfectly. All systems are stable. The humans have shown no signs of detecting it. Good. Minho nodded. Continue to count down. Suddenly, Lieutenant Kim Junho's voice rose with excitement and confusion. Sir, we have an incoming transmission from Earth, but this one is different. It appears to be directed specifically at our command ship, not a general broadcast. Minho felt a chill run down his spine. That is impossible. How could they know which ship is the flagship? I do not know, sir, but the transmission is definitely targeted at us. Should I put it on screen? Minho hesitated. Standard coalition protocol was to maintain complete communication silence during extinction operations, but his curiosity was stronger than his training. Put it on screen, but keep it brief. The main view screen flickered to life, and suddenly the entire bridge fell silent. Instead of the desperate military commander or terrified political leader they expected, they were looking at an elderly, human woman sitting in what appeared to be a simple office. She was wearing casual clothes and had a gentle smile on her face. Hello there, she said in a calm, friendly voice. I am Dr. Lee Sun-mi, Director of Earth's Stellar Engineering Department. We noticed you have brought quite an impressive fleet to our system. The bridge officers looked at each other in confusion. Stellar Engineering Department. What was this human talking about? Dr. Sun-mi continued, as if she was having a normal conversation with old friends. We have been monitoring your approach for about 6 months now. Your stealth technology is quite good, but we have been tracking your gravity signatures since you entered our local star cluster. Commander Daehoon's mouth fell open. 6 months, but our stealth systems are undetectable by any known technology. Oh, we developed gravity wave detection about 80 years ago, Dr. Sun-mi said, apparently having heard the comment. It was necessary for our deep space mining operations. You cannot move large amounts of matter without creating detectable gravitational disturbances. Admiral Minho found his voice. Human, you are clearly attempting to deceive us with false claims of advanced technology. Our intelligence reports show that your species has barely achieved basic space travel. Dr. Sun-mi's smile widened. I am afraid your intelligence is a bit outdated, Admiral. I stopped sharing our real technological capabilities with outside observers about 200 years ago. We learned that it makes other species nervous when they discover what we have been working on. What do you mean? Minho demanded. Well, for example, that device you have positioned near our sun, that is a stellar collapse device, is it not? Quite an impressive piece of engineering. We have been studying it for the past hour. The blood drained from Lieutenant Yoon Ji-soo's face. Admiral, that is impossible. The device is completely undetectable. Even our own sensors cannot locate it once it is deployed. Your device uses quantum field manipulation to destabilize stellar cores, Dr. Sun-mi explained patiently. The quantum signature is quite distinctive once you know what to look for. We developed similar technology about 70 years ago, though we abandoned that particular approach after some unfortunate accidents. Accidents? Commander Daehoon asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Oh yes, we accidentally triggered a small stellar collapse during a mining operation in the Centauri system. Nothing serious, just a brown dwarf that we were harvesting for materials. But it taught us to be more careful with stellar manipulation. The bridge fell completely silent. The humans were claiming they had accidentally caused a stellar collapse decades ago. If that was true, then their technology was far more advanced than anyone had imagined. You see, Dr. Sun-mi continued, We have been working on stellar engineering for quite some time now. So our sun was naturally unstable, was going to go supernova in about 800 years, so we fixed it. Lieutenant Kim Junha's hands were shaking as he ran a deep scan of the human solar system. Admiral, he whispered, their sun, ... The fusion patterns are completely artificial. The entire stellar core has been restructured. Ella, that project was led by Dr. Yoon Taeyong. Dr. Sunmi said proudly. Brilliant man. He figured out how to stabilize the quantum fluctuations in the core matrix. It took us about 15 years to complete the work, but now our sun should burn steadily for another 10 billion years. Admiral Minho felt the deck spinning beneath his feet. If the humans were telling the truth, they had completely rebuilt their own star. The energy and technology required for such a feat was beyond anything the coalition had ever achieved. But do not worry about your device, Dr. Sunmi continued in the same cheerful tone. We have taken some precautions. We would not want any accidents to happen to our star after all the work we put into fixing it. What kind of precautions? Minho asked, though he was not sure he wanted to know the answer. Oh, we have simply placed a small containment field around your device. Will prevent any quantum cascade reactions from affecting our stellar core. The field is quite harmless to your equipment, but it makes your weapon completely safe, Lieutenant. Yoon Jisu's voice cracked as she stared at her console. Admiral, I am reading massive energy signatures around the device. Something has surrounded it with a containment field that is operating on power levels I cannot even measure. We hope you do not mind, Dr. Sunmi said apologetically. We know how embarrassing it can be when a weapons test goes wrong. We have had a few mishaps ourselves over the years. Weapons test, Minho repeated numbly. Well, we assumed you were testing your stellar manipulation technology. Why else would you bring such a device to a system with an artificially stabilized star? You must have known that it would not work properly under these conditions. The Admiral looked around his bridge at the shocked faces of his crew. Everything they thought they knew about humanity was wrong. These were not primitive beings on the verge of becoming a galactic threat. These were advanced engineers who had been secretly working on technologies that the coalition could barely comprehend. Dr. Sunmi, he said carefully, exactly how advanced is your civilization? Oh, we prefer not to discuss such things, she replied with a gentle laugh. Since you asked, would you like a small demonstration? We have been working on a new stellar ignition technique that might interest you. Before anyone could respond, the view screen split to show a view of deep space. In the distance, they could see a failed star, a brown dwarf that had never achieved fusion. This little fellow is about 12 light years from here, Dr. Sunmi explained. We have been using it for practice. As they watched in stunned silence, the brown dwarf began to change. Its surface rippled and glowed, and suddenly it burst into brilliant life as a fully functioning star. There we go, Dr. Sunmi said, with satisfaction. That technique is much cleaner than our old methods. No quantum cascade effects at all. The bridge was so quiet that Minho could hear his own heartbeat. The humans had just created a star as casually as lighting a candle. Now then, Dr. Sunmi said, turning back to face them directly, shall we have a proper chat about why you are really here? Admiral Kong Minho stared at the newly created star blazing in the distance. The light from its birth was already racing across space, and his ship's sensors were going crazy, trying to measure the energy output. In his 300 years of service, he had never seen anything like this. Admiral Commander Park Dayun whispered, they just made a star. They actually made a star. I can see that, Minho replied, his voice hollow. He turned back to the view screen, where Dr. Lee Sunmi was still smiling pleasantly. How is this possible? No species in the galaxy has that level of technology. Dr. Sunmi tilted her head thoughtfully. We have been working on stellar engineering for quite some time. It started as a necessity, really. Our sun was unstable, and we needed to fix it. Once you learn how to manipulate stellar cores, creating new stars becomes much easier. Lieutenant Kim Jun-ho was frantically running scans on his equipment. Sir, the energy readings from that new star are incredible. The precision required to restart fusion in a brown dwarf should be impossible. Nothing is impossible if you understand the underlying physics, Dr. Sunmi said gently. We spent about 60 years studying stellar mechanics before we attempted our first modification. Safety first, as we always say. 60 years, Lieutenant Yoon Jisoo asked in amazement. Your entire species has only been in space for about 200 years. That is correct. Dr. Sunmi nodded. We began our stellar research program almost as soon as we achieved reliable space travel. We realized early on that if we wanted to survive as a species, we needed to understand and control the forces that could destroy us. Admiral Minho felt a growing sense of dread. What other forces have you learned to control? Oh, many things. Gravity manipulation, quantum field dynamics, dimensional folding, time dilation effects. The usual technologies that any advanced civilization develops. The bridge officers looked at each other in shock. These were technologies that the coalition's most advanced species had only theorized about. The humans were talking about them like basic tools. Dr. Sunmi, Commander De-yoon said carefully. Our records show that your species was engaged in primitive warfare just 200 years ago. You were using chemical explosives and metal projectiles. That is true, Dr. Sunmi agreed. We were quite violent in our early days, but we learned to channel that energy into more productive pursuits. War taught us about destruction, which helped us understand creation. What do you mean? Minho asked. Well, to build something, you must first understand how to take it apart. Our weapons research gave us deep knowledge of matter and energy interactions. When we turned that knowledge toward constructive purposes, we made rapid progress. Lieutenant Kim Jun-ho was studying the readings from their containment field around the Coalition's weapon. Admiral, the power levels required to maintain that field around our device. They exceed the total energy output of our entire fleet. Oh, that little field. Dr. Sunmi said, overhearing. That is just a basic safety measure. We use similar fields around our construction sites to prevent accidents. The power comes from a small tap into our local star's core. You tap directly into stellar cores for power. Yoon Jisoo asked, her voice cracking. Of course, once you learn to manipulate stellar fusion, using it as a power source becomes quite simple. We have been running our civilization on direct stellar energy for about 100 years now. Admiral Minho felt sick. The Coalition's most advanced power plants could barely harness the energy of a single fusion reaction. The humans were casually drawing power directly from the heart of their sun. Dr. Sunmi, he said slowly, if your technology is so advanced, why have you remained hidden? Why have you not made contact with the galactic community? Dr. Sunmi's expression became slightly more serious. We have been observing the galactic community for quite some time, Admiral. We have seen how advanced species are treated by the Coalition. We have watched civilizations be destroyed for becoming too powerful too quickly. That is for the protection of all species, Minho said automatically, though the words felt hollow. Is it? Dr. Sunmi asked gently. Or is it for the protection of those who are already in power? We have studied the Coalition's history, Admiral. Every species that has developed beyond certain technological thresholds has been eliminated or forced into submission. Commander De-yoon shifted uncomfortably. The Coalition maintains peace and stability across the galaxy. The Coalition maintains the status quo, Dr. Sunmi corrected. It ensures that no new species can challenge the existing power structure. But we understand, change is frightening, especially when it threatens your way of life. So you've been hiding from us, Minho said. We have been protecting ourselves, Dr. Sunmi replied. And in doing so, we have been protecting you as well. What do you mean, Admiral? Do you know what happens when a stellar engineering project goes wrong? When you accidentally destabilize a star in a populated system. We learned that lesson the hard way during our early experiments. The destruction can spread across entire star clusters. Lieutenant Kim Jun-ho's face went pale. You mean your accidents could have affected other systems? Oh yes. Our early mistakes nearly caused a chain reaction that would have destroyed dozens of nearby stars. We had to develop emergency containment protocols very quickly. Since then, we have been monitoring and maintaining stellar stability throughout this entire region of space. Monitoring how many systems? Minho asked. In this galaxy, about 3,000 stars. We have been quietly preventing natural stellar disasters for the past 50 years. Supernova events, neutron star collisions, black hole destabilization. The universe is a dangerous place, Admiral. The bridge fell silent as the implications sank in. The humans had been secretly maintaining the stability of thousands of star systems. They had been protecting civilizations that did not even know they existed. Why? Commander DeYoon asked softly. Why protect species that would destroy you if they knew you existed? Dr. Sunmi's smile returned, warm and genuine. 'Cause that is what advanced civilizations do. They protect those who cannot protect themselves. They guide younger species through the dangerous periods of development. They ensure that life continues to grow and flourish throughout the universe. But the Coalition, Minho began. The Coalition is a young organization, Admiral, was formed by species who were afraid of being surpassed by newcomers. But fear is not a good foundation for galactic governance. Eventually, you must choose between control and growth. And you chose growth, Yoon Ji-soo said. We chose responsibility, Dr. Sunmi corrected. With great power comes great responsibility. We learned that lesson from our own history. When we were young and violent, we nearly destroyed ourselves. When we became powerful, we realized we had a duty to protect others from making the same mistakes. Admiral Minho looked around his bridge at the faces of his crew. They were all staring at him, waiting for his decision. The weapon that was supposed to destroy humanity was now contained by their superior technology. The species they had come to eliminate was actually protecting them from cosmic disasters they did not even know existed. Dr. Sunmi, he said finally, what happens now? Now, we talk, she replied simply. We discuss the future of the galaxy and how we can work together to make it a better place. But first, I think we should address the elephant in the room. What? Elephant? Your doomsday device, Admiral? We have made some improvements to it while we were chatting. Would you like to see? Before anyone could respond, the tactical display showed their stellar collapse device. But it no longer looked like the same weapon they had deployed. It had been completely transformed, covered in strange new components that pulsed with unfamiliar energy. What have you done to it? Minho demanded. We upgraded it, Dr. Sunmi said cheerfully. It is now a stellar construction tool instead of a weapon. It's much more useful and far less dangerous. Consider it a gift from Earth to the Coalition. A gift? Yes, we thought you might want to learn how to build stars instead of destroying them. It is much more rewarding work, and the galaxy could always use more light. As Admiral Minho stared at his transformed weapon, he realized that everything he thought he knew about power, about civilization, about the universe itself, was about to change forever. Admiral Kong Minho stared at the transformed device on his tactical display. What had once been the Coalition's most deadly weapon now looked like something completely different. Strange blue energy flowed through new components that had not existed minutes ago. Admiral Lieutenant Yoon Ji-soo said with a trembling voice, the device is no longer reading as a weapon. The energy signatures suggest it has become some kind of construction tool. Dr. Lee Sunmi nodded approvingly from the view screen. Very good. Your sensors are quite accurate. We have converted your stellar collapse technology into a stellar ignition system. Can now create stable stars instead of destroying them. How did you modify our weapons so quickly? Commander Park, Dayun asked. It should be impossible to make such changes remotely. Oh, we did not do it remotely, Dr. Sunmi explained. We sent a small team to make the modifications in person possible, Minho said firmly. Our sensors would have detected any approaching ships or personnel. Not ships, Admiral. Our engineers use personal transportation devices for small jobs like this. It's much more efficient than sending an entire vessel. Lieutenant Kim Junho was frantically checking his sensor readings. Sir, I am not detecting any foreign objects or personnel near our device. That is because they are already finished and heading home, Dr. Sunmi said with a gentle laugh. Our engineers are very fast workers. They have been doing stellar modifications for decades. The bridge fell silent as the implications hit them. Humans had somehow sent people to their weapon, completely rebuilt it, and returned home without being detected by any of their advanced sensors. Dr. Sunny Minho said slowly, exactly how many humans are currently in this star system? Quite a few. We have several research stations throughout the system, plus the engineering teams that maintain our stellar infrastructure. I would estimate about 50,000 people are working in various locations around our local space. 50,000, Dayun gasped. Our long-range scans detected no installations or personnel outside of your home planet. Akana, our installations use dimensional folding technology, Dr. Sunmi explained patiently. They exist in pocket dimensions that are attached to normal space but not visible from the outside. Much safer that way, and it does not interfere with natural space traffic. Lieutenant Kim Junho was now scanning frantically in all directions. Admiral, if I adjust our sensors to look for dimensional anomalies. Oh no, what is it? Minho demanded. Sir, there are dozens of dimensional pockets throughout the system, maybe hundreds. They are everywhere. Dr. Sunmi smiled. We have been working in this system for over a century, Admiral. We have quite an extensive infrastructure. Research stations, manufacturing facilities, stellar monitoring posts, gravitational anchors, temporal stabilizers. This system is actually one of our major engineering hubs. Temporal stabilizers, Yuan Jisoo asked weakly. Yes. When you do a lot of high-energy stellar work, you sometimes create small time distortions. We learned to stabilize local time flow about 40 years ago after a particularly messy accident. Timo Minho felt like he was drowning. Every answer Dr. Sunmi gave revealed new levels of technological advancement that the coalition could not even imagine. Dr. Sunmi, he said, you mentioned that you have been observing the galactic community. How long have you been watching us? About 150 years, she replied. We became aware of the coalition shortly after we achieved faster-than-light travel. We have been monitoring your activities ever since. And what have you observed? Dr. Sunmi's expression became more serious. We have watched the coalition destroy 17 civilizations that were deemed too dangerous to survive. We have seen peaceful species eliminated because they developed technology too quickly. We have observed the systematic suppression of innovation and growth throughout the galaxy. Commander Dayun shifted uncomfortably. Those species were threats to galactic stability. Were they? Dr. Sunmi asked gently. Or were they simply competition for the existing power structure? We have studied each case, Admiral. Most of those civilizations were destroyed not because they were aggressive, but because they were advancing too rapidly. The Vorak Empire was extremely aggressive, Minho argued. They conquered 12 systems before we stopped them. The Vorak Empire turned aggressive after the coalition attempted to limit their expansion, Dr. Sunmi corrected. We have access to their historical records. They were initially a peaceful trading civilization. It was coalition interference that drove them to violence. That is impossible. Our records clearly show. Your records show what the coalition wanted them to show. Dr. Sunmi interrupted softly. We have preserved the true historical data from many of these incidents. The pattern is always the same. A young species develops advanced technology. The coalition demands they limit their growth. The species refuses. War follows. The species is destroyed. Lieutenant Kim Jun-ho looked up from his console. Dr. Sunmi, if you've been observing us for so long, why did you not intervene before? We did intervene, Lieutenant. We have been preventing the coalition from discovering dozens of developing civilizations. We have hidden entire star systems from your surveys. We have redirected your exploration fleets away from species that were not ready for contact. The bridge officers stared at each other in shock. The humans had been actively working against coalition expansion. You have been protecting other species from us, Minho said, the full reality finally sinking in. We have been protecting them from premature contact, Dr. Sunmi clarified. Contact between civilizations should happen when both sides are ready, not when one side decides the other has become inconvenient. But why protect them and not make contact yourself? Yoon asked. Because we learned from our own mistakes, Dr. Sunmi replied. When we first achieved advanced technology, we thought we could solve every problem in the universe. We tried to help everyone, to fix everything, to make the galaxy perfect. Do you know what happened? What we nearly destroyed? Several civilizations by helping them too much. We gave them technology they were not ready for. Okay? We solved problems they needed to solve themselves. We learned that growth requires struggle, that wisdom comes from making mistakes. So you stopped helping people. We stopped interfering. Instead, we began protecting, maintain stellar stability so that young civilizations have time to develop. We prevent cosmic disasters that would end their stories before they could be written. We hide them from predators until they are strong enough to defend themselves. Admiral Minho looked around his bridge at the faces of his crew. They all looked as lost and confused as he felt. Everything they had believed about their mission, about the coalition, about their place in the universe, was crumbling around them. Dr. Sunmi, he said quietly, what do you want from us? We want you to stop. She replied simply. We want the coalition to stop destroying civilizations out of fear. We want you to start protecting growth instead of preventing it. And if we refuse? Dr. Sunmi's smile never wavered, but something in her eyes changed. For just a moment, Admiral, Minho caught a glimpse of the incredible power that lay behind her gentle demeanor. Admiral, she said softly, we have been maintaining the stability of this galaxy for over 50 years. Every star that shines, every planet that supports life, every civilization that exists in this region of space continues to exist because we allow it. The words hung in the air like a physical weight. The humans were not just claiming to be advanced, okay? They were claiming to be the secret guardians of the entire galaxy. You control everything, Minho whispered. We protect everything, Dr. Sunmi corrected. There is a difference. Control is about power over others. Protection is about responsibility for others. And if we do not agree to your terms, then we will continue to protect the galaxy, Dr. Sunmi said gently, including protecting it from the coalition, if necessary. The threat was delivered so politely, so kindly, that it took a moment for its full meaning to register. The humans were offering the coalition a choice: change their ways or be stopped. What exactly are you proposing? Minho asked. A new approach to galactic governance, Dr. Sunmi replied. Okay, one based on guidance instead of control. Okay, one that helps civilizations grow instead of limiting them. One that sees diversity as strength instead of threat. and our role in this new approach. That depends on you, Admiral. You can be part of the solution, or you can be part of the problem we solve. As Admiral Minho stared at Dr. Sunmi's gentle smile, he realized that the coalition had not come to destroy a threat. They had stumbled into the territory of beings who had already decided the fate of the galaxy. The only question now was whether they would be allowed to participate in shaping that fate. Admiral Kong Minho sat in his command chair, feeling smaller than he had ever felt in his 300 years of life. Around him, his bridge crew stared at their instruments in stunned silence. Everything they thought they knew about the universe had been turned upside down in a single conversation. Admiral Lieutenant Kim Jun-ho said quietly, "Hey, I am receiving data streams from Earth. They appear to be technical specifications for our modified weapon." "What kind of specifications, Commander?" Park Dayun asked. "Complete blueprints for stellar construction technology. Power generation systems that are thousands of times more efficient than anything we have. Gravitational manipulation devices, dimensional folding techniques." His voice cracked slightly. "Sir, this is more advanced technology than our entire civilization has developed in 10,000 years. Dr. Lee Sunmi smiled warmly from the view screen. "We thought you might find those useful. Consider it a welcome gift to help your species take its next step forward." "Why are you giving us this?" Minho asked. "Why help us after we came here to destroy you? Because that is what you do when someone is ready to learn," Dr. Sunmi replied gently. "You came here believing you were protecting the galaxy from a dangerous species. Now you know the truth. The question is, what will you do with that knowledge?" Lieutenant Yun Jisu looked up from a console with wonder in her eyes. "Admiral, the power generation system they have shared with us could provide energy for our entire fleet for centuries. And that is just the basic version." "The basic version?" Yun asked. "According to these specifications, this is what they call elementary technology, something they developed about 60 years ago and have since improved many times over." Dr. Sunmi nodded. "We wanted to start with something simple that your current technology base could understand and implement. Once you mastered those basics, we can share more advanced systems." "You are planning to continue helping us?" Minho asked. "Of course. Is what advanced civilizations do, okay? They guide younger species through the difficult transitions. You are not the first military force that has come to our system believing they were protecting the galaxy from us. There have been others. Oh yes, the Zelthari Confederacy sent a battle fleet about 30 years ago. The Rakaran Empire tried to eliminate us 50 years ago. Even the Valdorian Republic made an attempt about 20 years ago. All very well-meaning people who thought they were doing the right thing." Commander Dayun leaned forward. "What happened to them? It's the same thing that is happening to you." "We talked. We shared knowledge. We helped them understand that there was a better way to approach galactic governance. Most of them became our strongest supporters. Most of them." Ho noticed the qualification. The Zelthari took a bit longer to come around. They were very attached to their concept of military superiority. But even they eventually realized that cooperation produces better results than conquest. Lieutenant Kim Jun-ho was still studying the data streams from Earth. "Dr. Sunmi, these technological specifications include warnings about proper usage and safety protocols. Why are you being so careful about how we implement them?" "Because we learn from our own mistakes," Dr. Sunmi explained. "When we first developed advanced technology, we were not careful enough. We had accidents that nearly destroyed entire star systems. We do not want other species to repeat our errors." "Right. What kind of accidents?" Yun Jisu asked nervously. "The usual problems that come with learning to manipulate fundamental forces. Temporal paradoxes, dimensional rifts, accidental black hole creation, uncontrolled matter conversion. We spent about 20 years cleaning up our early mistakes." The bridge fell silent as they contemplated the casual way Dr. Sunmi mentioned creating black holes by accident. Dr. Sunmi Admiral Minho said slowly. If your technology is so advanced, if you have been protecting the galaxy for decades, why have you not simply taken control of galactic governance yourself? Because that is not our role, she replied firmly. Galactic civilization must grow naturally. If we simply imposed our will on everyone, we would prevent that growth. We would become the very thing we oppose, a force that limits the development of other species. But you could solve so many problems, Dayun argued. You could end wars, eliminate poverty, cure diseases, and in doing so, we would rob those species of the opportunity to solve those problems themselves. Growth comes from overcoming challenges, not from having them solved for you. Then, what is your role? Minho asked. We are gardeners, Dr. Sunmi said with a smile. We tend the garden of galactic civilization. We provide the basic conditions needed for growth: stable stars, protection from cosmic disasters, prevention of extinction-level events. But the actual growing must be done by each species itself. Lieutenant Kim Jun-ho looked up from his console again. Admiral, I am receiving an invitation. Tia, what kind of invitation? They are inviting our entire fleet to visit a diplomatic station. The coordinates are included. Dr. Sunmi nodded. We thought you might like to meet some of the other species who have gone through this same transition. The Zelthari ambassador particularly wanted to speak with you. She said she remembered feeling exactly the same way when her fleet first encountered us. Other species are already working with you, Minho asked. Oh yes, about 40 civilizations are now part of our cooperative network. They help us maintain galactic stability while continuing to grow and develop at their own pace. And they are happy with this arrangement? Why do you not ask them yourself? The diplomatic station has representatives from all of our partner species. You can hear their stories and decide for yourself whether this is something your people would want to join. Admiral Minho looked around his bridge at the faces of his crew. They all looked back at him with a mixture of hope and uncertainty. The universe had suddenly become a much bigger and more complex place than any of them had imagined. Dr. Sunmi, he said finally, what happens to the coalition if we accept your proposal? The coalition continues to exist, she replied. But its mission changes. Instead of preventing the growth of dangerous species, it becomes part of a larger network that guides and protects developing civilizations. Instead of being enforcers, you become teachers. And if the coalition refuses, Dr. Sunmi's expression remained gentle, but there was something sad in her eyes. Then the coalition will continue on its current path until it encounters a species that it cannot destroy. Eventually, all empires based on control rather than cooperation meet such a species. You mean us. You mean any advanced civilization that chooses protection over domination. We are not unique, Admiral. Throughout the galaxy, there are other species who have reached similar levels of development and made similar choices. The universe tends to favor cooperation over conquest in the long run. How many other species like yours exist? In this galaxy alone, about a dozen that we know of. Most of them are working on similar projects, maintaining stellar stability, protecting developing worlds, preventing extinction events. It is quite a large community, actually. The revelation that humans were just one of many advanced guardian species left the bridge crew speechless. Admiral Minho, Dr. Sunmi continued, your weapon was never going to work anyway. We and our partner species have been maintaining your sun's stability for the past 200 years. This was showing signs of premature aging due to natural quantum fluctuations. You have been maintaining our sun, Minho whispered. Of course, the coalition homeworlds support billions of lives. We could not let those civilizations perish due to stellar instability. Commander Dayun laughed suddenly, a sound that was half amazement and half hysteria. They have been protecting us while we planned to destroy them. That is what guardians do, Dr. Sunmi said simply. They protect those who need protection, even from themselves. Lieutenant Yunjizu spoke up hesitantly. Dr. Sunmi, what do we do now? Now you make a choice, she replied. You can return to the coalition and report that humanity has been eliminated. You can continue the old ways of control and fear, or you can stay and learn about the new ways of cooperation and growth. And if we stay, then you become part of something larger than any single species or government. You become part of the community that tends the garden of galactic civilization. You help young species find their way to the stars. You protect life and encourage growth throughout the universe. Admiral Minho stood up from his command chair and walked to the viewport. In the distance, Earth continued its ancient rotation, blue and peaceful and beautiful. Somewhere on that world, an entire civilization of beings existed who had quietly taken responsibility for protecting billions of lives across the galaxy. Dr. Sunmi, he said, we would be honored to learn from you. It's wonderful, she replied with genuine joy. The diplomatic station will be ready to receive you in 6 hours. And Admiral, yes, welcome to the real galactic community. The one where everyone grows together. As the transmission ended, Admiral Minho looked around his bridge one last time. These people had followed him into what they thought was a mission to save the galaxy. Instead, they had discovered that the galaxy was already being saved by beings far wiser and more powerful than they had ever imagined. Set course for the diplomatic station, he ordered. It is time we learned how to be gardeners instead of warriors.